It was at the end of 1997 when, in the remote areas of Louisiana state in the USA, the police began finding a series of bodies one after another. These were bodies of young men, their hands and legs bound, and with the lower part of their bodies exposed. It was clear that they had been brutally attacked. The bodies were all of boys. The question soon arose: who could be doing this to young boys, and why? The police, eager to find answers and track down the savage killer, launched an investigation. However, it would take them 10 long years to finally catch this ruthless predator. This killer was none other than Ronald Joseph Dominique. So, why was Ronald Dominique killing these boys? Why did he commit so many murders? How was he able to evade the police for so many years? And how did the police finally catch him? Let's find out the full story of how an ordinary boy became a psychopath serial killer. Before diving into the details, make sure to subscribe to the Crime Story channel and press the bell icon. You must have guessed by now that the villain of our story is Ronald Dominique. Dominique was born on the 9th of January 1964 in Thibodaux, Louisiana. He was the youngest of 6 siblings, and his parents were extremely poor, making a living through manual labor. Raised in such a difficult environment, Dominique graduated in 1983. He then enrolled in Nicholls State University to pursue a degree in computer science, but he quickly lost interest in his studies and dropped out. A reason behind Dominique's lack of interest in academics was his strange behavior. Even during his school days, Dominique's personality was different from others. He would often remain aloof and quiet, preferring to keep to himself. He didn't like talking to others. On top of that, he struggled with obesity from an early age, which led to excessive weight gain. This, along with his odd behavior, made him the target of teasing by his classmates. He was also subjected to ragging, and he didn't participate in any sports or social activities. His isolation from others made him the subject of mockery in the school. In this monotonous life, Dominique's refuge became a local bar, but even here, some of the boys started teasing him, calling him gay. This worsened his situation, and soon he became the object of ridicule throughout the college. After this, Dominique dropped out of college and began wasting his time. As the saying goes, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. Dominique's life spiraled downward, and he began getting into fights and arguments with others. On the 12th of June 1985, he made his first criminal act. He began making obscene calls to an unknown number, and the person on the other end filed a complaint with the police. As a result, Dominique was arrested and fined $5. Following this incident, his siblings forced him to find a job, but he struggled to keep a job and soon moved in with his sister and other relatives. During this time, Dominique frequently landed in jail for various reasons. His first major crime occurred on the 25th of August 1996. Reports indicate that at this time, Dominique was staying at his sister's house. He broke the window of the house, and a young man came running out in a state of undress, claiming that Dominique had tried to kill him. The neighbors immediately informed the police, and Dominique was arrested. However, in a lower court, Dominique was fined $100,000, but he appealed to a higher court, which eventually acquitted him due to lack of evidence. After being acquitted, Dominique began his killing spree, which continued for several years without the police being able to catch him. His first murder took place in July 1997 when he killed a 19-year-old African-American boy named David Michel. Dominique lured David into his trap and took him along. 2 days later, the boy's body was found near a water-filled ditch by the side of the road. The autopsy revealed no signs of physical abuse, and there was no indication that David had been under the influence of drugs or alcohol. As a result, the police assumed David's death was accidental, caused by drowning. However, David's father insisted that his son was an excellent swimmer and could not have drowned. This led the police to reopen the case and continue their investigation, but they could not find any clues to the killer. Meanwhile, Dominique remained at large, and by December 1997, he murdered another 20-year-old boy, luring him with drugs before killing him and dumping his body in a deserted area. Dominique's terror continued to spread. In 1998, he killed 4 boys. In 1999, he killed 3 more. In 2002, he murdered a 20-year-old and a 26-year-old, and by 2003, the police found the body of a 19-year-old boy. By this time, the police realized that all the murders had a similar pattern, and it became evident that a single person was behind them. By 2004, Dominique had killed 2 more people, and in 2005, he committed his highest number of murders, 7. Despite his growing body count, he remained elusive, and by 2005, the police had identified him as a prime suspect but had not yet managed to arrest him. The media began calling him the Bayou Strangler, because he was committing most of his murders near the Bayou region in Louisiana. Additionally, his method of strangling or binding his victims with ropes led the media to label him a strangler. In October 2006, Dominique killed a 27-year-old man named Christopher Sutfield, but the police still couldn't catch him. The breakthrough came when some people reported seeing Dominique with Christopher in a black SUV. However, the police were unable to track down the vehicle or get a detailed description of Dominique from witnesses. In November 2006, Dominique's next target was a man named Ricky Wallace. He befriended Ricky, offering him drugs and women, and the two became good friends. One day, Dominique invited Ricky to his house and offered him drugs. After a while, Dominique told Ricky that the woman they were about to have fun with was his girlfriend and that she wanted him to bind Ricky's hands and legs, as she enjoyed it more that way. Ricky had heard about the bodies of young men found in the area and realized something wasn't right. He immediately refused and escaped from Dominique's house. Ricky ran to the police and told them everything, but initially, the officers didn't believe him due to his history of drug abuse and past lies. However, Ricky continued to repeat his story, and eventually, the police decided to investigate. They called Dominique in for questioning. Dominique denied all accusations and claimed he was innocent. However, the police became suspicious and requested that Dominique provide a blood sample for routine testing. Dominique, in a hurry, agreed to the test, and the blood sample was sent to a lab for analysis. The police had previously found semen samples on some of the bodies they had recovered. When they compared Dominique's DNA with the semen samples, they found a match. Despite this, the police didn't act immediately, knowing Dominique's cunning nature. They carefully gathered more evidence and, based on this, obtained an arrest warrant. On the 1st of December 2006, Dominique was arrested at a homeless shelter. When arrested, he remarked that he knew his time had come and that he had moved to the homeless shelter to keep his family safe from the investigation. After his arrest, Dominique initially refused to confess. However, after some time, he promised to cooperate if the police assured him he wouldn't face the death penalty. The authorities agreed, and Dominique confessed to 23 murders, providing details of how and why he had killed the victims from 1997 to 2006. Despite this, police were still unsure of his motive. Experts suggested that Dominique might have been killing for his own enjoyment. He claimed he killed for pleasure and because it gave him a sense of power. He also admitted that he found the killings fulfilling in some way. Based on Dominique's confessions, charges were filed, and the court proceedings began. On the 24th of September 2008, Dominique was convicted and sentenced to 8 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. He was informed that he would never be eligible for parole. As of now, Dominique is serving his sentence in a Louisiana prison. One question that arises is how he managed to evade the police for so long. The biggest reason was that Dominique targeted vulnerable young men, many of whom were either drug addicts or had run away from home. These victims were often overlooked by the authorities, making them easy targets for Dominique. In conclusion, despite evading the police for 10 years, Dominique was eventually caught and is now serving time for his heinous crimes. Due to the number of murders he committed, he is considered one of the most notorious serial killers in American history. So, what do you think should have been Dominique's punishment? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed our work, please like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed to the Crime Story channel yet, make sure to do so and hit the bell icon to stay updated on more crime stories. Thank you.